Thank you so much for joining us today on C Major Before the Show. Thank you. We are so glad that you're here. It's Saturday, it's August. We are looking at the weather starting to do what it does when school time approaches for the fall. And so it's still a nice day, but you can just feel it's different. It's different in the air. But we're glad that you're here on this Saturday afternoon. And today we have a lot on the brain, so to speak, just a lot. So just bear with me today because I'm going to be saying a lot of different things. I have a lot to share. We're talking about rhythms today. And I use the term winning rhythms because that's what I found when I did the research, that there are publications that even refer to rhythms as winning rhythms. So we'll be talking about those and how to use those rhythms with chords. And so just get ready because it's going to be very fun today. I have some extra spicy rhythms to bring to the table too. And so I'll tell you all about that in a moment. But I just want to say that I am so excited. We are, it appears, and so it seems, we are on the brink of an early pumpkin spice season. And you're probably saying to me, what does that have to do with music? Well, I'm sure it has something to do with music if you look hard enough to find the correlation. But I love pumpkin spice season, and I hope that if you're listening that you love pumpkin spice season too, that there are some listeners out there that just do. And so we've been waiting for the launch of pumpkin spice, and so it appears that it's coming early this year. Isn't it early? I mean, I heard some dates being thrown around, August 21st and August 28th, so just be on the lookout for that. But it's all about spice. And so if you like pumpkin spice season is upon us all. And then if you like just spicy things, if you brought some snacks to the podcast, you may even bring some sriracha sauce. And so what I found was some organic smoked pumpkin seeds, roasted pumpkin seeds. And I found some blue chips this past week that I really enjoyed. But I just get requests all the time from my students to find rhythms to spice up their solo playing, their duet playing during their lessons. And so, believe it or not, everything from belly dance rhythms to blues and to swing. And believe it or not, some of my students even want to swing Moonlight Sonata. It's all great fun, and it's in the name of music making and wellness. So I'm so glad to have you here with me this weekend. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to pause here. I just need to take a sip of water, and I'll be right back. You are listening to C Major Before the Show. And you are here with me on C Major Before the Show. I'm your host, C Major Porter. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry to take a little bit more than just a little sip of water. I think I started doing other things, but I'm glad you're here. So thank you for being here. I may decide to step out for another moment, but we're just going to take it one step at a time today and try to have some fun. So we were talking about having fun today in the name of music making and wellness. And I think I've read that article to you in the past where playing pleasing sounds on the piano was the way to go for some students, especially adult students that wanted to just have fun at the piano and not worry so much about musical achievement. And so they were able to find a way to do that. And so one thing I was able to do was just take away some rhythms that you may see on a keyboard and just separate those out and then see what we could do by adding them back to a keyboard that does not supply a rhythmic feature. So it's possible to do that. So if you need some ideas, you need some ideas for how to do something like that, I have several ideas I can suggest to you. And then it really involves technology. So we will be talking about that, believe it or not, a little bit later over at the C Major Radio Show. Believe it or not, we're going to talk about technology because I want to start really implementing some of those thoughts over on that podcast. So as much as we talk about traditional notation and text notation and other ways to write down music, I think in the grand scheme of things, even if you're using a notation program, such as the ones that we've talked about in the past, even if you're using that, to even start to think, okay, how can I take this further? So I'm going to be reading an article over there. I hope you will join me a little bit later if you're interested in hearing what the article says. It's a brand new article that came across my desk this week, and I haven't even read the entire article, but I thought, you know what, this would be great to bring to today's podcast episode. But here we are. We're talking about winning rhythms here over at C Major Before the Show. And it's been a quiet summer. I haven't really done that many shout-outs, just maybe sprinkled in a couple of shout-outs here and there. But I think for the most part today, I'm going to give some shout-outs, some summer shout-outs to at least 3 or 4 students today who have really brightened my week just with their questions, with their music making, and the things that they're aiming to do at the piano. So my first shout out goes to a student that is really just surprising all of us with his willingness to learn new music, and then at the same time challenging himself to go beyond just learning the music but memorizing it, and then putting himself in a position where he can play it absent of the score within a week. So a shout out to this student because, you know, this student is really, really, really trying so hard to grow. And I think that's what makes us all friends here, is that we are accepting where we are. We are encouraging each other to grow. And then we remind ourselves of how far we've come. I think that is a great definition of friendship, especially here in the 21st century. I just recall when I was growing up that I had friends, childhood friends, but they're childhood friends. And then you go along in life and you're looking for that example of friendship in others, and you think, oh, just because you have a laugh with somebody, oh, they're your friend. And when you start to think about it, they may or may not be your friend. So just getting really clear about how you're going to define friendship for yourself, that's been something that I've had to do over the years. And it's just so nice to see when you get with a community of music makers, how much they want to see you grow as much as you want to see them grow. That's a very nice feeling. So shout out to that student. Shout out to another student who is really trying to grow in her music making to the point of, and this has been so surprising, having students that are not afraid to rewrite history, so to speak. So you find a song, you find a teaching piece that's supposed to work one way, and then the student finds that they can make it work another way. That's such a fresh approach to learning. It's beyond self-directed learning. It's just going into that realm of really taking charge of your learning and really wearing your thinking cap, so to speak. So it happened, and it was kind of funny. So you may laugh along with me. But I was so amazed at this student. Found a way to switch her do's and her da's. Think about that for a moment. Raise your hand if you know of a song that uses the word do and the word da. If it's a word, well, it's a song. Or da and do. So we're talking about D-O-O, do, and D-A-H, da, which is the way that I've seen it. So do da. But she was able to switch it to da do and make sense of it. And the other thing that surprised me, it was that we just giggled in the lesson. It was so funny because initially I don't think she intended to switch her do's with her da's. But here it was. And you know the song I'm talking about, right? It's called Camptown Races, which is amazing, first of all, that we're still learning that song in the 21st century, that it's used as a teaching piece, but it's a successful teaching piece. Otherwise, it would not have survived in the way that it has. So here we are, she's playing this song, and then she got to the part where you're supposed to play do-da, and she played da-do, da-do. Amazing. I think that was the best thing that could have happened, because now she realizes that it's okay to switch your do's and your da's. So guess what she's doing this week? She went even further with that. And now she's following in the footsteps of my other student. Remember I told you the other student that did, on her own, decide to play a song in retrograde. So this student is choosing to do the same thing. And what she's finding is that Camptown Races doesn't sound so bad in retrograde. But the way she's doing it is that she's playing it so that you start on the first count of every measure as you're playing backwards, not playing every single note backwards. So it's a true retrograde in that regard. But it's just so interesting to see her make this discovery. So shout out to that student. And then shout out to another student who, wow, now this student really amazed me this week. Was really thinking ahead in his music making. Now he's just starting to play the piano, so he's playing little simple tunes like songs about a banana called Henry, you know, and playing on black keys, and keeps going back to that song, and he loves it. And now he's starting to realize he can play Mary Had a Little Lamb, that American folk tune, and play that on black keys, and also play that on white keys, and also change the words to the tune to fit the subject that he wants to talk about in his music making. So it's just so amazing to hear him come to life, you know, when he makes all of these discoveries. And then on top of that, he questioned me about my music making, and I was so surprised. He said, "What is the hardest piano piece you've ever played?" And I really had to stop and think about that. I really did. Because it's been a long time since I've really challenged myself to play anything hard. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I challenge myself to play hard music at this point in life? And I thought to myself, you know what? It may be time to pick up a piece of music that I thought initially would be too hard for me to tackle. And just tackle it. and see what happens. So I will be reporting back to that student and actually bringing some pieces to his lesson and have him take a look at it and see if he thinks it's hard. And so, of course, it's going to appear hard to him because he's just starting out. He's going to see all of these black notes all over the page and just go, wow. But we're going to talk further about this. I told him I would look into it for him and then give him a solid answer on that. So shout out to that student. I love it when you get surprises like that. And then finally, my fourth shout out, I wasn't sure if I would do this, but I'm going to do it. And it's for a student that is looking to do something entirely different with classical music. I might have mentioned this on the podcast, but remember, it must have been in the 70s or the 80s or something when all of a sudden classical music took a turn and started playing dance rhythms with classical music. Do y'all remember that? I remember that. I remember it because I bought the LP, or at least my parents bought it for me. So here it is. You have this full-size record, this full-size LP. You're putting on the record player. And what's coming to mind right now from my memory is I just remember some sort of dance being played to some sort of fast beat rhythm. And I think the initial approach was to make classical music sound more fun. I think it was called Hooked on Rhythms or Hooked on Classics, something like that. And so it surprised me this week to have a student that said, you know what, I'm thinking of playing Moonlight Sonata. By the way, I have about 3 or 4 students right now working on just that Moonlight Sonata. And this one particular student said, I want to take Moonlight Sonata to the next level. I want to play it with a swing rhythm. And so this particular student is doing just that. So shout out to my summer students who have brought some of the most intriguing topics to piano lessons this week. Shout out to them. Yes, very big shout out to all of them. I think it's all great fun in the name of music making. It keeps them well. You know, it just really brought me back to this whole topic of creativity and problem solving, something we talked about in graduate school. I really had I don't want to say I had a problem with creativity and problem solving, but I really struggled with that concept for a long time. And it wasn't until I got really clear about what that meant. So creativity and problem solving beyond free association, making music in a circle with people that just start a rhythm and then you try to add something to that. So aside from that, where, you know, you record it and you just listen back and see, oh, this is the music we made together. Beyond that, I really think that a lot of my students have, talking about past and present, have used music to solve their problems. So if you're in a family, for instance, that had nothing to do with music and you're the first pianist in the family, the one to really take it further to study piano lessons, then you're solving a problem. You're bringing to the table someone who has piano skills, and when the family needs to sing happy birthday at a celebration or they need music for an event, then you're able to do that, something that your parents weren't able to do, your grandparents weren't able to do. You're ready to solve that problem, and you're putting yourself in a position to be creative enough to solve that problem. So I'm seeing a lot of that. You know, for a while it puzzled me. I thought to myself, as a piano teacher, as a private piano teacher, am I supposed to bring music achievement to the table and require all of my students to learn this particular method or that particular method and to jump through hoops, taking this test and taking that test, you know, if they prefer that? And should I make it all about achievement, and make their lives more challenged, I would say, by requiring them to do all these different things? Or are we using music to solve a problem? The nice thing about it, I've seen both. I've seen where it started out as musical achievement, and then it went into something else. And then myself, my own personal story, which I will not be sharing today, but I will share it another time. I think in the future I will share that, how I've been able to use both in my life. But I would say this, that when I started out, it was definitely all about musical achievement and just achievement in general. So when you're brought up to be in a position to achieve, that's all you really think about. And so somehow the process of that becomes fun. I don't know how, but just I think the passion for achieving something is really where that lies. And so I don't know. Like I said, I will talk about that at another time, but it's nice to see the combination of students that I have. I think in the past we've used the word recreational versus serious students. But you can be serious about your recreation. And that doesn't mean you are hedonistic, It just means that you prefer to do something that is fun and it solves a problem for you. If you're learning to play, for instance, I heard today somebody playing music of Queen on a clarinet. If that's what really helps you to learn clarinet better, why not do something like that? So here we are. We're going to talk about winning rhythms. I'm going to change my location, but before I do, let me just give you a sample of some of the rhythms we're going to be talking about. And then when you join us later of the C Major Radio Show, I will show you how these rhythms that we play today are being notated, what's in front of me. I will describe everything as quarter notes and half notes and beyond. It really depends on how far we get. So maybe I'll do, let's see, how many chords do I want to use today? I may decide just to use C, F, and G, 1, 4, and 5. Let's just do that. And then that way we can get into some eighth note rhythms too. Okay, so let's just do that. And then we'll come back, and if it's successful, if you think that this can help you further to practice your chords, of course without injuring yourself, you want to stay safe, then we will we'll introduce more chords into the winning rhythms with chords approach. Okay, so now let me turn on my machine because it's going to give us some rhythms to play around with. So let me lower my music here in the background so it doesn't clash. Okay, so let me stop on that. And now the first beat is going to be an 8-beat rhythm. Okay, so let me press play on that. And I don't have the tempo going that fast. Okay, and I think I have it about a mid-level. Okay, so that's considered an 8-beat rhythm. Okay, and then if I want to do like some fills with that rhythm, I can do that. Okay, you heard that? That was like a little fill. And so I can do another fill too. Okay. Alright. So this particular unit doesn't tell me how fast my rhythm is going. Let me stop that for a moment. Okay. So that was just one example. Did that sound fun to you? I hope it did. Now I'm going to go to something that's called a 16-beat rhythm, so you can hear that. Okay, so let me hit play. And I'm going to hit the fills. to stop on that. Okay, now next, let me go to something that's called a rock rhythm. Let's see what we get there. Let's see if it's going to give us, if it's going to provide anything totally different. Okay, so we're going to stop on that. So you might be saying to yourself, you know what, C major? These beats all sound the same. Well, let's just keep going up. So now here's something called metal. And let's just see what happens with that. Okay, so now let me go to pop and see what that sounds like. Okay, so let me stop that. You know what I think? I think there's a default setting here. Okay, so I think unless I actually choose the number of the pattern that I want to take place, I'm not going to hear it change. So let me go back. And this is how you experiment. You really do. You can experiment live or in the privacy of your own setting, wherever you are. And then just make the music happen. So whatever is pleasing to you. So now we're going to start all over again. I have it on 8-beat pattern. I'm going to press play. Now I'm going to see if I can make the beat change. Yeah, I think I just heard it change just now. Okay, so now I'm going to move it to something else. Yeah, now I'm starting to hear a little bit of a change, right? Okay, so don't be afraid to just experiment with this. Okay, so what you're going to hear me do a little bit later is you're going to hear me change the patterns according to how I want to change the patterns. Okay, so let's hit that. Now, let me go to what I guess you could say would be like spicy rhythms. When I think of spicy rhythms, I think of dance. So let's see if we hear anything different with dance. Okay, so hang on one second. Okay. Okay, so you get the idea. You kind of spice up the rhythms a little bit, and it has to be to your own taste. So, you know what? I think what we're going to do now, I'm going to play some more music for you. And then what I'm going to do is take my rhythm device to my other location, so you'll hear me moving. But before I do that, let me go ahead and put some music on, back on. I'm going to get another sip of some water or tea or something like that, and you can do the same. Okay, so get ready because it's about to get really, really spicy. You're listening to C Major before the show. here on C Major before the show. We just took a little bit of a break to get some water. I ended up drinking some juice, and I had some of my organic roasted pumpkin seeds, which I was very surprised at the color of those, by the way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change location. I'm going to keep my music kind of semi-up, but when we come back to this location, the music will be playing, and then we'll close out today's show, but not before inviting you to come over to the C Major radio show. Okay, so now, let's change our location, and let's see what we can do with these rhythms. So if you did bring your quote-unquote axe, AX, to the show, I borrowed that from one of my professors who used to say that. He said, you know, when you go to a gig and you bring your axe, and his axe happened to be a violin. So he used to talk about that all the time. But if you have it with you, get it out. It doesn't matter what it is. It can even be a piece of paper. That can be your axe. Because if your axe is just a flat keyboard diagram, then maybe so, maybe so. Now, we are live here, so you may hear some other rhythms in the background, but we're going to try to keep you focused on our rhythms. And so, I have to remember to take this resource to another location. Okay. Make sure it's secure. So I'm at the keyboard. So you're going to hear me playing. Not as much as I did last week, by the way. So I listened back to a little bit of the demonstration that I did with the Beethoven and the Bach, and I was playing a lot more than I thought I was. Okay, so here I go. I'm on a C major triad, so if you can do the same. Now, what I want you to do, you're going to play 4 bars of just quarter notes. Okay, and I don't think I'm going to use the metronome. I think I'll just use my rhythmic device today. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the back of me, because it's a separate device. It's like the manufacturer decided to sell the piano and the rhythm separately. Some people call that a drum machine. It's not quite as sophisticated as a drum machine, but you can do some interesting things with it. Okay, so here I am playing piano. Should I go to a bright piano sound or stay on this one? Okay, we'll stay on this one. Hopefully your piano's in tune with mine. You know, I recently played along with somebody that wasn't in my location, so it's more of a remote location, and their piano was like one step out of tune with mine, but that's okay. We were still able to make music together and to get our meaning across. Now, I'm going to play 4 quarter notes for one measure, 4 quarter notes for the next measure, 4 quarter notes for the measure after that, and then 4 quarter notes for the measure after that. So you hear me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop. Okay? So that's kind of, I don't want to use the word boring, but it could be more exciting. So let's see if we can spice that up a little bit. So if you've been tasked with the assignment of playing a C major triad and 4 quarter notes for 4 bars, 4 measures, then to practice that alone, you may need a little bit more exciting sounds to go along with that. So let's see if we can turn this on. And okay, so let's do that. I think this is on dance. So we're going to leave it on dance for today, okay? All right, now I have it in front of me. I'm thinking maybe I should put it in back of me. Okay, so you hear it in the background. And then I'm going to play my chords along. I have no idea how fast I'm going. It may be 120, it may be something else. But I'm going to see if I can keep up. Okay, just using a C major triad. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I don't know how accurate I was. If that sounded accurate, if that sounded ahead of the beat, if it sounded behind the beat. I won't know until I listen back. I just recall this one experience where I was auditioning to play in a funk band, and I just felt all along I just did not have the groove to play with this funk band. I was not helping them solve their funk problems. And so I was helping them solve their problem with playing the songs because I could read music, I could play chords, I could do all of that, but just having the feel. And that's the thing about rhythm. Rhythm doesn't teach you feel at all. It just teaches you rhythm. But either you can groove or you can't. That's basically it. So you can't fake the F-U-N-K, as they say. So, bear with me and just have fun. So straight quarter notes should be reasonable, okay? And what you can do also, if you care to, write in the counting. You can write in the counting. You can clap and count the rhythm ahead of time if you'd like. Or you can just play and say nothing. How about that? Just play and say nothing. So I think that's what I'm going to do for this next thing. I'm going to play and say nothing on this next example, and then I'll tell you what I've just played. Okay? All right, so here I go. Same triad, C major triad. Okay, so again, this goes along with what we're going to be doing a little bit later over at the C major radio show, is that we'll tell you the note values, but I will just tell you the counts here. I played 1, 2, 3, 4 as quarter, quarter, half note, half note, half note, half note, quarter, 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 half note. So if you don't read time values at all, you don't even know what you're looking at. You just have to figure out how you're going to notate that for yourself. How are you going to describe that? And that was always so interesting, to play with musicians who had no idea of what it meant to read music or read rhythms or even how to notate anything. They didn't know anything about a time value, but boy, did they understand the feel and the groove of music making. And to be able to play along with them was always so interesting. And they nailed it every single time. That's all I can say. They had people on their feet when it came to their music making. And they solved a lot of problems. I say it like that. But they solved a lot of problems with their music making. Musical achievement, maybe not so much. But they solved a lot of problems, you know. And by musical achievement, you know, I don't mean to sound flippant. When I say that, I just mean that, you know, if you put a textbook in front of them and say, okay, here's a test, take it, then that's something that they were either not interested in doing or something that they aspired to do, or just said, you know what, I don't need that. I can make music without that. And they did. So kudos to them. Now, let's put on a rhythm to see if I'm going to change it slightly and play that same rhythm you heard me just play. Okay, there I did it. Okay, now I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to go into my next rhythm. Okay, so this time I'm not going to say anything at all. Nothing. I'm not going to tell you time values. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to be bloop. Lock it. Don't say a word. Just play it. Don't even say it. Just play. And then have you listen, because who knows? You're listening to this podcast now. You may be driving somewhere. You may be on the road, and you're saying to yourself, you know what? When I get back to where I can sit down and listen, I'm going to do it and see if I can play along with this exercise. So we're using an exercise where we're playing a C major triad. I outlined it on today's picture that accompanies the episode so you can see where your hands go. Okay, so let's turn on a different rhythm. So now I'm turning on a variation of the same spicy dance rhythm. I call it spicy. Of course, there are spicier rhythms out there. But let's just put this on and see what's going on. Okay, now this is our third rhythm. And that was interesting. That actually surprised me. I wasn't expecting that last measure to sound the way that it did and to go along with that particular beat. But it's so fun just to pick something random, isn't it? Okay, so now we're going to go to another variation of this beat. And let's see what happens. Okay, now, rhythm number 4. Okay, so now I'm going on to the 5th rhythm. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 7 plus 3. So we have 10 rhythms altogether. So this 5th rhythm sounds like this. And I wonder if I should change my piano sound. Let's see if I could do that. See if you like this better. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but let's give it a try. Okay, so here we go. 5th rhythm. Okay, so I did a fill at the end, so in case you wanted to put in a fill just to keep that going. And what is this doing? Where is this going? I think that if you practice your triads in a certain way, right now what I'm doing is everything by the right hand. I'm just playing a C major triad. But suppose you wanted to practice your triad by using both hands. There's a way to do that too. Or you can say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to practice my left hand. And then you can decide, okay, I'm going to play both hands together because I really want my fingers to know what a C major triad feels like in both hands. But here we go with the 6th rhythm. Are you ready? Okay. I'm going to play the rhythm first this time and then jump in with I'm going to play my rhythm machine first and then jump in with my piano sound. Okay, so maybe you like that one. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it back to piano. So that's just to give it, some variation. So you can say, I can practice using that sound. Okay, so now I'm going to switch I'm going to keep it on dance. I'm going to see if I could use something totally different. Okay, so you hear how it keeps shifting and changing, right? Okay, so It's almost like it's giving me a chain of rhythms and it just keeps varying, which makes it even more interesting and makes it a little bit more spicy. Okay, so let's start back, and we're going to start with number 1, and then I'm just going to keep that rhythm going, the rhythms rather, from the rhythm machine, and then while I'm playing rhythms by chords, okay, and this time I'm not going to stop at all. So you hear me shift from the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th rhythms seamlessly without stopping, okay? Each rhythm will have 4 measures, 4 bars. Maybe you'll be able to catch up and keep up. Maybe you won't. But it's just to challenge you. Okay, here we go. Okay, how did you do? Hopefully you did okay. So some of that may have sounded a little bit crazy, but I think it's good to have variety. One reason why I think it's better to have a live drummer, if you can, when you're playing live, is that they can really respond to your energy. Whereas something like this, you would have to program it in a way that it would really, really make what you're playing live sound fresh and not just over-rehearsed. So here we go. Let's go into the next page. So we just finished a page of 10 rhythms, believe it or not, on a C major triad. So now we're going to switch to an F triad. Okay, this one, I think I'm going to play lower. Okay, just to give us a little bit lower frequency here. Okay, no pedal, by the way. And it's going to switch from 4/4 to 2/4. So let's see if you can hear when it does that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch totally to a different rhythm altogether. Okay, and I'm going to not switch the rhythm for this page. I'm just going to play seamlessly from one example to the next. Each rhythm will have, it appears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures. And so you'll hear a mix of 4/4 and 2/4. 2/4 will be more towards the middle, I would say. So 5 examples of 4 and 5 examples of 2. And so this book really encourages you to count carefully because they're saying rest are just as important as the notes, and they are. But let's see what happens. This is all fresh, unrehearsed. You're here on C major before the show. We're playing winning rhythms with chords, and we're just trying out a few things. Now we're focused on playing an F triad and see what happens. Here we go. Okay, what did you think about that? Let us know. We are available on social media for your feedback, and you'll let us know which episode you found to be the most helpful. And so just know I will be trying out some of these rhythms with my students as well to get their take on practicing winning rhythms, but we'll probably do more, I would say, clapping, if anything. Now, this one is our last rhythm for today, and it's a page of 10 rhythms, as were the other 2 pages. It's our third rhythm, and we're going to play on a G major triad. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities to play using 4/4 time, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opportunities to use 2/4 time. And so all it says on the page, write in the counting. Now this is going to be interesting because it's a mix of faster time values. So you've been hearing me mostly playing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you're going to hear me play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and or something like that. Okay? All right, so let's see. Which rhythm do I want to use? Which rhythm should I use? Let's see. Let's try this one. Let's just see what happens with this one. Okay, I did not like doing that. That was not satisfying to me. So what I'm going to do is see if I can switch it to another rhythm. Okay, so now let's try this one. Now I want to do a sample and see what happens. Okay, so we did that already, but now let's go to this. Okay, so let's try that one. Okay, so this time I'm going to switch it to electric piano, and I'm going to play my eighth notes along with this particular rhythm and just see what happens. Okay, and I'm going to try to go through all 10 examples without stopping. And I think what I'll do is play a little higher on the keyboard. So we're going to give a higher frequency for our sound. I think that went a little bit better this time. Maybe you'll agree with me. And I didn't stop to play any fills or anything like that. Okay, so let's make that stop. So I think you have to find what works for you in the moment. And then if you need to practice counting And of course, if you want to practice writing any of these rhythms down, please see us this evening over at the C Major Radio Show. We are so looking forward to having you over there, because I will tell you exactly what we were doing with each of these rhythms. So rhythm number 1, 10 examples, page 1. Rhythm number 2, 10 examples, page 2. And then winning rhythm number 3. So I should use the word rhythms, because it's a page of 10 rhythms on each. So I just played for you basically 30 different rhythms on 3 different separate pages. And if you care to know anything about this resource, please let me know. I'd be happy to share it with you in the name of the publisher and all of that good information. But have fun with your chords. I thought that doing this today would give a little bit more variety and to encourage you to practice playing chords and practicing chords in a different way. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to change our location again. Go back to where you're going to hear some recorded music. And I'm just going to talk to you as I'm moving. So I hope you're having a good Saturday. I hear that there's some people that are away for the weekend this Saturday and next Saturday. They're doing different things with their families, with their friends, trying to squeeze in the last little bit of summer recreation and rest that they can do. And so I think when you are consciously focused on doing that, that's a good thing. There's some people that I know who do not even know how to rest. They're constantly working, and before they know it, they've made themselves so tired that they don't even have an idea of how to rest. I was just talking to someone the other day. They went somewhere, had to do something with a timeshare or something, and then they were back at work within a week. But now they're looking to go away again. Okay, you've been listening to C Major Before the Show. I'm your host, C Major Porter. We're back where the music is. I'm going to turn this music up, let you have a little bit of a rest after hearing all those winning rhythms with chords. And we'll be back in a moment. Thank you for listening. Okay, and we're back from our little juice break. I don't know, do you like orange juice? That's what I just had. I think it's organic. Then I just had like a handful of peanuts just to keep the energy going. And so what we're going to do now is turn the music down just a little bit and talk with you about what we have planned for next week and for the fall, believe it or not. So thank you so much for tuning in. And so Of course, you're going to join us a little bit later over at the C Major Radio Show. So as we round out today's show, we want you to keep listening. We also want you to tune in next week as well. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk about next week. I really don't know. I have a couple things on the brain I think I wanted to talk about. I'm going to let it be a surprise. We gave you a sneak preview, I think, this week, talking about chords with rhythms and so forth. But we'll keep going with the chords theme, of course, because I think that's useful to you. And everyone is different. You know, you may run into musicians who think that it's best to try to learn as many songs as you can and put into your library so that you're ready for every single gig that comes your way. And then you have musicians who just don't care anything about gigging. They just care about the music. They care about lifelong learning and being able to just sit down and read music and play and relax. And it solves a problem for them. So as much as it is about musical achievement, it's also about solving a problem. That music relaxes them. Making music, reading music relaxes them. So I've been able to see both sides of the benefits. So we'll keep talking about the benefits of that, because I think music making and wellness is still an important topic. I really do. Creativity and problem solving, musical achievement, all of those very important topics for our time. How are you practicing music? And does your practice of music go along with the theory of what practicing music is supposed to be about? That's very interesting. I think it's different for everyone. So think about that. And until next week, I'll be thinking about that. I'll be thinking about you. And I'm glad that you were able to tune into today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you a little bit later over at the C Major Radio Show. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you next week.